Let's step broadly outside of Thursday night and take a look at everything else that you need to look for in Week 12. Starting with storyline number 1, Joe Burrow back? Maybe? What's the
Maybe.
latest,
So full practice participant on Wednesday for the first time since his week 2 injury. We'll need to see him practice in full today. They're probably having practice right now. I could probably check and see, but I'm not. Uh, but yeah, to know he's ready to go, we'll need to know that he's actually practicing and that full practice yesterday didn't aggravate the toe injury. But even then, Zach Taylor is playing super coy about it. I'm not sure yet when asked about Burrow playing this Sunday. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco was also limited yesterday and is listed as questionable. So, they need him no matter what. It's kind of silly to say, but the Bengals aren't completely out of it at 3-7. Highly, highly unlikely they make a run. I mean, they're literally minus 8,000 to miss the playoffs, the shortest odds on the board. But they'll need some gifts from the Jags, Steelers, and Chiefs pretty much to do this. Odds are against them. But I mean, if they want anything going, any positives to take away from this end of season run, they're going to want Joe Burrow back. And this is a winnable game, I think, for the Bengals with Joe Burrow in the lineup. We do have a little value on the Bengals in this game already with Flacco in our projections, but Joe Burrow just changes things. Flacco's been solid, but there's a bunch of Flacco games in there. 2 games with touchdowns, 3 picks in his last 2 games. They only won 2 of the games without him. For all the praises we were singing of Flacco, getting the ball to the guys, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, everyone's been looking good offensively. They're not winning any games to show for it. So they have any chance of anything in this season, it's Joe Burrow here. It's not, they're 2.5 games back of the Jags, who aren't a confident team. So it's totally possible, but just unlikely. But anyway, if he's back, you'd assume the Bengals wide receiver core gets a little bit of a boost. They're without Jamar Chase for a 1-game suspension here. So T. Higgins and Andre Yoshivas leading the way. Currently, T. Higgins has a 72-yard, 46% touchdown probability. Yoshivas at 39 yards and 27%. Flacco's projected for 249 yards, and this is a small sample size, but I went back and looked in our week 1 and 2 projections. We had Joe Burrow for 282 and 279. So safe to say Higgins and co would get at least a small bump if Burrow were to start, since his increase in passing yards obviously is going to funnel through them, most likely his good guys. The Pats have a notoriously stout rushing defense, but the passing game is very middle of the pack here, and they've let some receivers do some pretty good work against them lately. 115 and a touchdown for Ibuka, 118 and 3 touchdown for Drake London, both those in the past 3 weeks. I like both Bengals receivers in this game, regardless of who starts. But personally, I'm all in on T. Higgins here. He scored in 5 of his past 6 games with 6 touchdowns in that span. No Jamar Chase, so he's wide receiver 1, and he's already pretty much a wide receiver 1 talent-wise. I think the only way he's not finding the end zone is if he's completely schemed out of this game, or the Pats put Flacco on his butt all game. But we'll talk about him a little bit more in our best bets.
Yep. Yes, sir, we will. T. Higgins has been named to watch, absolutely, with his quarterback back potentially. I get more intrigued for sure. How about Shedeur Sanders? First NFL start. Well, it was ugly when we got his first snaps last week. I don't know how inspired Browns fans should be here, but hey, for at least we know this. There's no drama this week. There's no subtweeting. There's no your job, my job. This is just, what do you got? It's your team. Let's see. What do you expect from Shedeur?
Yeah, it's his chance to silence the haters, or at least, make a statement game that he should have been the guy. And none of that will really matter if you just come out and do your job and you look good. No one's going to care about all the preseason drama, at least no one that matters. But yeah, uninspiring, of course, from last week. 4 of 16 for 47 yards in relief of Dylan Gabriel. Not a very good sign. Also not an ideal situation, or even a full game sample size to really be using to judge. Getting thrown in there against a Ravens defense, a divisional game, and with guys that you don't play with in practice. So, however, I should just say they are playing the Raiders this week. So You couldn't get much of a better opportunity, at least for your first start. Maybe the Bengals, someone like that. But the Raiders could barely get it going against the Cowboys defense, and the Browns defense is much, much better. So they should set Shedeur up with opportunities. It's up to him to capitalize, though. Aside from Max Crosby, I don't think there's really anything to be scared of in Vegas's defense. Maybe we'll see, was it Jamal Adams over there make a random game because he'll take advantage of a rookie in with the yips, but he'll at least have a full week to practice with the first unit. Our first projections have him at 167 passing, 18 rushing, 11% for a rushing TD, so he's fair at plus 900. That like kind of interests me if you can get good odds. He's like plus 550, so not really close at all as far as fair. But rookies like to run. They like to scramble. If they don't see something, they freak out a little bit, and sometimes that works out, and we see them find the end zone or break a big play. So if you can get better value on Shedeur for a touchdown, it might be something worth looking at. But low passing projections obviously mean a pretty low outlook for the receiving core. Jerry Jeudy, 38 yards, 17% TD probability. Harold Fannin, 35 yards, 20% TD. Tillman, 34, 19%. David Njoku's got the highest touchdown probability of them all at 21%. I think it's kind of funny how this box score mimics what we project for the Bills, who are undoubtedly a much better team, but the reality of that matchup and the reality of Shedeur Sanders getting his first start seem to actually align pretty heavily here. Big winner for me is Quinshon Judkins, probably in line for his fifth game with 20 plus carries. Raiders do allow under 90 rushing yards per game, so they're not like a pushover as far as the ground game's concerned, but the defense is certainly soft enough to attack. I don't know how I will, but I am going to have something on my card in this game. I'll probably post it in the Dimers Discord, so you can look out for it there closer to the weekend. I won't do it until probably Sunday, but I'll play a little SGP in this, I think. Something banking on Shedeur Sanders having a decent game, at least getting the ball to one or two key players, Quinshon Judkins getting in the end zone, something like that. And then maybe throw in a pick for him as well, because it's probably going to happen.
I was going to say there's got to be some negative. That's the route I'm going with Shedeur. Respectfully to Shedeur, I actually think he's a talented kid. I don't think he's ever, literally at any level played behind a good offensive line. I mean, he played non-Division I. He was basically playing backyard football. Then he goes to Colorado, where his dad just put the worst offensive line in the high major entire league in front of him, and he just built horrible habits, and you saw some of those horrible habits against Baltimore in his debut. Max Crosby is not the guy I want to see for that, so I'm gonna be looking into some sack props. I'm gonna be looking into honestly, like even some weird quirky like Browns to submit a safety. Like that's probably 19-1 for Las Vegas to get to Shedeur in the end zone. That's the way I'm going to bet this game. Maybe even some like specific drive to end in a turnover. But if you can't tell, I'm a Shedeur Sanders skeptic, to say the least. Let's go to the last storyline here. I think this is the game of the week. I think you agree. Colts and Chiefs should be an entertaining one here. A lot at stake.
Yeah, Bucks, Rams, Cowboys, Eagles, equally good games, I'd say, but this one's got the most at stake for sure. Chiefs could fall below 500. I think that'd be the first time since early in the season. Colts enter as pretty significant 3.5-point dogs. Dimers model giving very slight edge to the Chiefs. 50-50 split on the spread, but our final score is 27-23. So just by a half a point in the Chiefs' favor. Model says it's tough sledding for the Colts offense outside Jonathan Taylor here. 69% probability to score a TD for JT. No one else on the Colts clears 28%. Top five for the Chiefs are all 29% or higher. So a bit more rounded out on the Chiefs side and very top heavy on the Colts. But beyond JT, just doesn't look like our model is expecting very much, at least as far as scoring from the rest of the Colts weapons. Colts rushing defense is really good. 5th in the NFL, only 8 touchdowns allowed, but their passing defense is 25th, and Mahomes has a pretty big projection of 273 passing yards in this game. We know that their running game isn't very good, and this is going to be a tougher rushing matchup. So, we haven't been inspired by what we've seen from the Chiefs this year, but it wouldn't surprise me to see kind of one of those classic Mahomes games. Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, who I was dogging on last week, but it wouldn't really surprise me if all three of those guys score in this game. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. Probably going to be tough. Like I said, tough stuff for the Colts. Props wise, we do have an interesting angle here. No value on Jonathan Taylor for a touchdown. Not totally surprising. He's like minus 280, but we do have him for a pair of touchdowns. 33% plus 240 gets you a little 3% edge. 11.3% for 3 at plus 1100 gets you a little 3% edge as well. Going to be one of the harder matchups for him to do that. But the Colts seem to know that the key to winning pretty much every game is just give Jonathan Taylor the ball. Old Priest Holmes style. That's like against these Chiefs. Just give him the ball over and over again, and he will do the work. So worth a look. Jonathan Taylor, 2+, 3+. Probably not going to touch a lot of Colts props in this game. I think I will do something silly like 3 touchdowns for the Chiefs. Kelce, Worthy, Rice, something like that. TBD for like a nice little Sunday lotto. But yeah, should shape up to be a good game. Dimer's model's got it pretty much a toss-up, which I think is reasonable given that we have a team performing above expectations, a team performing below expectations, and they're coming to meet in Kansas City too. So tough place to play.
Yep. I'll be on Colts. I'm ready to wipe our hands clean, stick a fork in the Chiefs, and I think this could be the week that happens. All right, thank you. Plenty of storylines. Feels like we're getting to a critical inflection point on the season here, and there's a lot to look forward to each week.